Hello and welcome to the final video of my World's 2024 team previews. FlyQuest was indeed not the last. For some reason I forgot HLE, which is a little bit of an oversight given that they're the first seed from the LCK, a team that definitely has a chance to win. A month ago or so, before playoffs even occurred, I identified HLE as my dark horse going into the event, figuring that they would end up going to Worlds and then getting the job, having a chance to get the job done, and people are kind of overlooking them compared to Gen G, BLG, Top Esports, and T1. Now, HLE ends up winning playoffs in part due to the format. I said it during my Gen G video, and if you've been here a while, this is going to be like beating a dead horse. But for those new here, I absolutely hate double elim without a reset. I think it's a joke. Gen G beating HLE and then HLE beating Gen G, in my opinion, is a wash, and that they should play again to actually determine who's better. But that's not a thing, and based on the rules, HLE wins. So whether one is better than the other, personally, I still think Gen G is better than HLE, but HLE did win on that day. Last time this team went to Worlds was Worlds 2021. That roster was Morgan, Willer, Chovy, Deft, and Vista. And they would drop out in quarterfinals. I've been saying this year, pretty much the whole time, HLE is like a gatekeeper team. They're very solid, very consistent, play a clean game of League of Legends. It's like a 9 out of 10 all the time. Now, a team like Gen G can play at a 9.5 to a 10, and we did see them, play at an 8.5 against HLE on the finals day and lose. Because HLE are always going to play consistently at a 9, in my opinion. And it's just a kind of how I view this team, and I viewed Nip in a similar way as well, but Nip ended up falling off a bit towards the end. A mess. But either here nor there, HLE have potential to win Worlds. They've had potential to win Worlds for months now, all year long. They have 5 world-class players, 2 that have already won Worlds. So this team winning LCK, it's not a super big shock. They certainly have the potential. In top lane, you have Doran, one of the best weak side top laners in the world. You could argue second best in that category. Very good on low resources. Now, there aren't many, I say this, but like top laner wise, I don't think anyone has a lower damage divided by gold than Doran in playoffs. So 1.8 KDA, 7.3 CS per minute, and a 55.5 KP. Which is pretty standard, except the CS is kind of low, and he did die a lot, but he's a top laner. But a 1.07 damage divided by gold, very low in the ROI. In part due to play facilitator, weak side, tankier champions. A lot of players at this tournament in the top lane role, not nearly as, vegan is the word they use in the community, when it comes to damage. He is more so building to stay alive in frontline. 16.8% of the team's damage. I think only Sniper from 100 Thieves is that low. 19.7 gold share, 2.58 vision efficiency, which is vision score divided by wards placed. At 15 minutes, he does stay even with LCK top laners, up 12 gold, but down 5 CS. Relatively even. 1 solo kill, 7 champion, 16 games. Internationally, he is 28 and 21. 1.7 KDA, 7.9 CS per minute, and a 54.3 KP. A 1.23 damage divided by gold. Historically, he does do better in the damage department than we saw during summer playoffs. Worlds 2022 out in semifinals, and 2020 and 2023 out in quarterfinals. Jungler is Peanut. One of the longest droughts in league history. I'm doing my second video for today is going to be more so based on the players that haven't won Worlds and how long they've waited and tried to get to Worlds. And Peanut is high up on that list. Been around the block with quite a few teams, had some deep runs. 3.2 KDA, 5.8 CS per minute, 82.9 KP. He is the one making things happen for HLE. Over 4 out of every 5 kills. He has one of the highest kill participations in the tournament. There are some teams that are very different than that. And interestingly enough, the support is not the one that's doing the work with Peanut. Actually, Delight, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of going in and dying before things actually get underway. 0.97 damage divided by gold, so playing more of a facilitator role, hence the KP. So the top side of the rift for HLE, not super strong in the damage department. There are other teams that are quite damage heavy up there. 13.7 of the team's damage, 18.4% of the gold. So the top side of the rift is only 30% of the team's damage. That might be the lowest. 4.13 vision efficiency, best on the team. Relatively even at 15 minutes, up about 185 gold, but down 4 CS and up 24 XP. Had 3 solo kills, which is notable because he had more solo kills than his top and his mid. That's kind of weird, right? That, your solo laners aren't actually getting solo kills. It's your jungler. 6 champions in 16 games. Internationally, 73 and 42. 3.4 KDA, 5.3 CS per minute, 66.7 KP, 0.8 damage divided by gold. Historically, and always has been a facilitator more so than a carry, in my opinion. He and Tian kind of take that title as the best facilitators in the world, in my opinion, finding gank angles and things of that nature. Worlds 2017 runner-up, 16-22 semifinals, 23 quarterfinals, 2020 group stage. Mid lane, we have Zeka. Very meta-dependent mid laner. Has kind of grown, to be able to play mages and things like that, but still, in my opinion, he is best suited on his assassins and things like that in the mid lane, which won him Worlds in 2022 with DRX. On what was, going to be maybe one of the most memorable runs that we'll ever see at Worlds. 4.7 KDA, 9.5 CS per minute, and a 72% kill participation. So Peanut, Zeka, Viper fight around each other quite a lot on this team. Not so much, like Delight is 15% less than Peanut in terms of, or 14% less in terms of KP, which is a significant difference in my opinion. So it's Peanut, Zeka, Viper. 1.56 damage divided by gold. 29.7% of the team's damage. Zeka leads the way in the damage department and the gold. 24.2% of that. So he is the one taking the majority of the resources and thus dealing the most damage. 2.96 vision efficiency, but on average at 15 minutes, not ahead. Like I said, this team waits for you to make a mistake. They play a slow, clean version of League of Legends. Personally, it puts me to sleep. But nevertheless, they're not opening big leads in the early game. Like 192 gold, down 3 CS, 83 XP. I mean, that's relatively even. And it's against LCK teams, so when HLE plays a team like 100 Thieves or something, they're going to blow them out. But the point is that against really good teams, HLE kind of wait for them to make a mistake, which is my thing about gatekeeping. That's the way I view this team. If you play a good, clean version of League of Legends at a 10 out of 10, and you got players better than HLEs or just at their level and are a little more aggressive than HLE are, you're going to take advantage of them, in my opinion. 2 solo kills, 5 champions, 16 games. Internationally, Zeka's only went on that one run. 19 and 7, 4.7 KDA, 9.6 CS per minute, 63 KP, 1.18 damage divided by gold. And like I said, it was in Worlds 2022 with DRX that he won. 80 carry is Viper. Viper is the best 80 carry in the world, in my opinion. Excellent player, been excellent player for years. 2021 world champion with EDG. 5.4 KDA, 9.4 CS per minute, and a 76.2 KP. So Peanut is fighting around mid, around Viper. Delight is dying before Viper is getting involved, I guess, because there's a 7% KP difference. And it's lower, not higher. When it's higher, we say, oh, well, they're roaming and making things happen. When it's lower, it's like, oh, this is what's going on here. Is Viper making things happen, or is Delight just, dying on his own, and we got to, articulate that by, thinking back to what we watched. But 76% KP, so 3 out of every 4 kills, 1.77 damage divided by gold. I was wrong. Zeka does not lead the team in damage. Viper does, 33%, but Viper has less gold at 23.8%. So Zeka is taking slightly more gold and resources than Viper, but dealing significantly less damage. And an 80 carry mid meta. We got 2 80 carries here. What are we doing? Zeka's not quite giving the return that Viper is on those champions. And, I mean, hell, Viper is the 80 carry. It makes sense. Going to combine the 15-minute totals. I mean, in part, I think if I really looked at it, and I should have looked at it more closely. So, Viper played 8 champions in 16 games. I feel like there's a Senna game in here or something. Only because the CS numbers are really screwy. Otherwise, Delight takes a lot more farm than the average support does in general. Senna's kind of moved out of the meta a bit, but the CS is kind of low. I'm trying to think back here, but I'm working through so many teams right now because the 15-minute diffies are weird. So, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Viper internationally, 26-7 and 17, 3.8 KDA, 9.4 CS per minute, 69.4 KP, 1.17 damage divided by gold. Like I said, won Worlds 2021 with EDG. 2019-2022 out in quarterfinals. Support is Delight. Delight's easily top 10 in the world, top 5 in the world at peak. This summer playoffs, in my opinion, he was not at his best, but he was good enough. 1.8 KDA, 68.5 KP. Like I said, a low KP relative to his teammates. There are other teams where if it was 68.5%, I'd be like, oh, that's par for the course. That's how that team plays. But this team, it's a weird conundrum to have your 80 carry and your mid and your jungler so much higher than your support. It's definitely weird. 0.6 damage divided by gold, so more facilitator, traditional support. 1.96 vision efficiency when we combine the diffies. So this bot lane duo is ahead 200 gold, 2 CS, and about 150 XP. So slightly ahead. But that's all on Delight. That's like, I know these are slightly ahead, so really they're going relatively even. But if you want your bot lane to be ahead, you want it on your 80 carry, you don't want it on your support. So Delight's taking more resources than the average support did in the LCK playoffs. And it must have been due to a Senna game or something to throw this all off. And I have to look closer and look back at that. But 9 champions, 16 games. And I put down Delight having a solo kill only because it's kind of funny that he had a solo kill. And it's as much as Doran did. And Doran was the top laner. 9 champions, 16 games, like I said. Internationally, Delight's 14 and 10. 2.1 KDA, 66.6 KP. Played with Gen G last year, out in quarterfinals. The coach is Dandy. Dandy has 0 Worlds or MSI experience as a head coach. Is a world champion as a player in 2014. But as a coach, has no experience at this level. So it will be interesting in that regard. This team certainly, like I said when I started this video, can win this event. They were my dark horse even before LCK playoffs. Now that they won, they are now considered to be in the favorite conversation, which I think is kind of funny. All of a sudden now HLE are one of the favorites, and maybe a T1 becomes an underdog or top esports. Excuse me, which I think is kind of funny. So either way, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.